some of what I wanted to speak about is very kind of adds on to what Larry was talking about. He talked just very briefly. He talked about the Butler shooting, uh, and my general topic is the evolution of the threat against the president. I don't care who the president is. Presidents don't need to get killed. That's the way it is. So, July 13, 2024, we got Butler. 64 days later, we got the lunatic at the golf course, West Palm Beach. White House Correspondents' Dinner more recently, and then most recently, as Larry alluded to, the UFC event at the White House. And that's only 15 days ago, folks. Excuse me. So when I talk about evolution of the threat, I'm talking about what I see as a movement from individuals, and that's only four real serious threats. There have been plenty of others, but they've all been basically individuals, not groups. So one of my concerns is groups. It seems like we could be going towards the evolution of the threat becoming groups in addition to individuals. This group in particular that was going to hit the UFC event 15 days ago, they plan to use drone bombs, that is exploding things that were delivered by drones, the things with the helicopter, that kind of drone, not the big bad drones with military. They even had, and one of the members of the group was an experienced drone pilot. So they were planning to drop the bombs, bomb the event, and then when people were being evacuated, they were going to have snipers in place to shoot and kill the people who were trying to escape. And they were going to try to hit high-value targets, guests who were there, and of course, the President of the United States. So Larry mentioned, Mom got worried about one of these guys and called the FBI. The FBI only found out 5 days before the event. Only 5 days. I served very temporarily with the Secret Service on the First Lady Protection Detail. We planned that for 3 weeks for her to just show up at a school. So, bottom line is, FBI had to jump on this. FBI and other agencies will give everybody credit. They had to jump on this very, very quickly. They had these guys, the searches have turned up multiple guns, long-range rifles, night vision goggles, thermal imaging scope. So, what am I getting at? It's the sophistication, it's the level of sophistication. If you add sophistication to a group, as opposed to, this guy Ruth, granted he might have been successful had the Secret Service personnel not found him. But if you now move towards groups and you move towards this higher level of sophistication, the chances of their success, what they consider success, is exponentially increased. These suspects, these bad guys, they were in different states. Money was transmitted between them. They used encrypted online apps, encrypted online communication systems. They practiced out in barren areas. They go out to the middle of nowhere and shoot the place up. They planned on having 5 teams of 3. So this is more sophisticated. This is, you guys are going to do this. You guys are going to be here. Placement, who's going to do what and where they're going to be. Much more sophisticated than almost all of the threats. And I'm not even including, foreign countries and foreign, services. Now, for the bad guys, one of the things that I haven't heard too much about, but I've confirmed, is that 2 of their cars broke down on their way to executing this. So, the level of sophistication, does that mean that these guys are just ragtag idiots who are going to fail? Not necessarily. Had the cars kept moving and the FBI not interfered, then this would have been pulled off. This guy Alvarez called it off before getting caught, and that's why 2 cars broke down. Plus, the FBI's on us. So, bottom line is, they may have been inexperienced. They may have seemed ragtag, but they did their research, their planning, their weapons acquisition. They had unsophisticated actions and sophisticated actions. So, my concerns, we've been seeing this mostly by individuals. Now we have people in groups openly advocating publicly, screaming on the streets for violent attacks, specifically against the president and the White House, using language that justifies these types of attacks. This is justified. This is the mindset of some of these soft minded people and other people out there among us, Americans among us, and others. This is justified. Hey, it's okay. You do these man on the street and you see these man on the street interviews. And well, what do you think about Luigi? Well, he was pretty cool, and I guess he did what he was supposed to do. Stupid people are picking up on this, and stupid people do stupid things, and dangerous things. So, bottom line, had mom not called, they may have been able to execute the plan. Thank God for mom. Um, they could have been successful as a group. The one guy, let me just jump back to the White House Correspondents' Dinner. One guy tried. He tried to shoot the president and shoot up the place. One guy alone. He didn't make it, but he was only one guy. That was probably the reason why this actually wasn't committed, didn't come through. What if it had been five guys? What if they had done a multiple point attack? My guess, they would have been successful. And whatever successful means, it's the bad thing was carried out and was maybe mitigated, but was not stopped.
So
So
let me, Martin, let me ask you this quick question. I'm giving you 1 minute because it's literally timing. I
uh,
want to make sure that we don't go over. One of the topics that we're going to be talking about, and we're going to have this presentation with our three law enforcement fellows, yourself, Larry Cunningham, and Mark Black, is to look at policy across the country. And the question that I asked you, the three of you, to prepare for, I want to ask you right now because you kind of touched on it. You touched on the politics of it all, but I'm asking you on the policy side of it all. What people need to understand about the three of you, Mark, Martin, and Larry, is that the three of you travel the country, maybe the globe, to train local law enforcement on a variety of different topics. And so it gives you a wide, number one, it talks about your experience, but it also provides you with a certain view of regional or local law enforcement. If the Republicans win or the Democrats win, I'm not asking you which is better or worse. That's irrelevant. Is there a way that you can very, very, very briefly explain what law enforcement would look like on the local level?
uh, very briefly, uh, it's all in the brain of the person who gets elected or is appointed. And the level of cooperation, as Larry said, cooperation between agencies is paramount. The level of cooperation can increase or decrease. Here in Maryland, where I am, we have county sheriffs who participate in the 287G program with ICE. They go out, they get the worst of the worst, they put them in jail, they get them their trials here, and when they're done their time, they send them back home. They help them find home. These people are lost. So there are some like that. There are other places in my own state where the elected officials and the elected officials pass on to this local officials pass on to the appointees. For instance, police chiefs, not necessarily sheriffs. Sheriffs are elected, police chiefs are appointed. They pass on to them. Hey, you know what? You don't talk to anybody in this agency, this federal agency, or this agency, or that, because it doesn't feel good, and my voters don't like it because it doesn't feel good. So
Do we
that
see that
stuff.
growing? Well, I guess my point is, do we see the shift away from policing to growing in either party or decreasing. We hear about the defund the police movement and so on. is that really growing on the left, or is that on the Democrat side? Is it really getting is are the Republicans really in fact taking law enforcement seriously as well? And then with that, we'll wrap up.
Sure, thank you. I think those left of center are moving towards, and this is state, local, federal. They are moving towards less enforcement, less law enforcement, much more, much weaker law enforcement, or just no law enforcement in particular areas where I kind of don't feel like this is a really good law. So rather than change it the way it's supposed to be changed, we're just not going to enforce it. So yeah, I do think that there is a move like that, and that results in people dying. I'm not being dramatic. It really does. It's happened right here in my own jurisdiction. Finally, when we talk about the movement on the left, Maryland's legislature and our governor are all in favor of passing a law that actually prevents all law enforcement in the state from cooperating with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. And they don't specify why, and they don't specify exactly how. So, ICE catches kidnappers. ICE
Right.
catches people who buy children for
So
sex toys. So
right.
these guys do
So
really good work.
we really do see a shift away from law enforcement on one side.